On today's Hashi, I'm discussing Fannie Mae's updated forecast, the FHFA House Price Index for March, and weekly mortgage applications. Today is Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. I am Byron Lazine, and the hot sheet starts now. Welcome into the Hot Sheet, your only 24-hour look back on housing on the internet. We do this every Monday through Thursday that the markets are open. It's why we weren't with you on this Monday on that Memorial Day holiday, but we will be with you here for the rest of the week today and tomorrow. It's 9:30 every single day on the East Coast and 6:30 every single day on the West Coast, and you would know the deal in between. If you're new to the Hot Sheet, let me know in the live chat. Let me know also which market you're tuning in from. If you are someone who appreciates the hot sheet, but have been lurking around the subscribe button, just go down, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. It is super easy. It is painless. It doesn't hurt. Nothing jumps out of the screen and gets you. And that subscribe button is just down below. Go ahead, hit subscribe, and consider sharing this content with a friend. The replay is up on the YouTube channel each and every single day. I know hundreds and even some days thousands of you listen to the replay just on YouTube alone. We also have the replay available on Apple and Spotify to help agents of change in a changing market and a changing industry to shape the future of what the next decade in real estate will look like. To be able to do that at an even higher level, join us in Vegas at BAM Mania, Circa Las Vegas. If you look up Circa Las Vegas, this is a brand new venue on the old strip, Fremont Street. If you look this thing up, you are going to be blown away. It is an absolutely, for lack of better words, sick venue. This place is unbelievable. It's October 18th, which is a Friday. We have an all-day VIP session on October 17th. So if you upgrade to the VIP, you get the 17th and the 18th, Thursday and Friday. If you just want general admission, that's October 18th. Cocktail reception for everybody on the evening of the 17th to kick it off. This is the first time I've mentioned it here on the Hot Sheet. We just released it to the public. BAMX members, remember, you get an extra 25% off of that lowest price. Right now, we're doing the early bird pricing. So right now, BAMX members, when they carve off 25% off of the early bird pricing, they get in under $300. This is the best ticket in real estate without question. We've already announced some of the speakers: the broke agent, Marie Lee, Tom Toole, Lisa Chinati, myself, Sharon Shrivatsa, Notorious R.O.B., Ken Pozak. These are just some of the early releases. We have some big names to announce here in the coming days. Check out the link below if you want more information on the VIP opportunity. That's also in that link below. Check out that venue, Circa. There is nothing like it in all of Las Vegas, and there will be no event in Vegas ever like BAM Mania. Hope to see a whole bunch of you there. What I wasn't hoping to see was Fannie Mae once again update their forecast. Why do I not want to see them update their forecast? Because every time they do it, it tends to get worse. I'm specifically zeroing in on one part of the forecast, and that would be the 30-year fixed mortgage rate. I've been saying since January 1st, when all of those 5% 30-year fixed predictions were flying around Instagram, people were screaming on video, this is the year of the fives, 5%, 30-year fixed. I have been consistent. You can go back and watch the Hot Sheet replays saying, no, don't say that. Nobody has the crystal ball. I'm not saying I'm not rooting for it. I'm in the stands eating popcorn saying, I want fives. Heck, I'd take 4.5. I'll go as low as we can go. We know what that does for affordability. For many home buyers, we know what it does to our industry. We know what it does to the market. It booms the market. Just go back and ask any agent from 2021 what it did. But I knew that wasn't a safe bet. It's really hard to predict these things. Really smart people like Fannie Mae get their predictions wrong all the time, more often than they get them right. And to go on Instagram, where we have a community, a following, or a database inside of our email and our text, and be screaming that this is the year of the fives, get ready for it, I felt was misleading at best. And very oftentimes, like Fannie Mae and others, you could just come up dead wrong. And your community, your database is going to remember that you were the one that said it, not necessarily that this was a projection. And so I caution people to do that. And here we are now, coming up on almost the halfway point of the year. We're 5 months in. We're nowhere near 5. When I hear 5, I think 5.0. I think 5.1, and I think 5.25. I don't think 5.99. That's Walmart pricing for 6. When I hear 5, I think 5. But we've been over 7 for really all of this year. And Fannie Mae now projects that we're going to be over 7, not only for this year, but really at 7 for the next year and a half. Yeah, you heard it right. Fannie Mae is not predicting anywhere close to 5s in the near future. Take a look at this tweet from Lance Lambert, and then we'll dig into the Fannie Mae report. The revised forecast expects the 30-year fixed mortgage rate to average 7.1 for the rest of this quarter. The previous forecast was 6.7. That's almost a half a point up. 7.1 in quarter 3. Previous expectation was 6.6. Remember, back in January, they were in the high 5s by quarter 4. 5.9 by quarter 4 was their quarter 1 projection from Fannie Mae. So these have just come up every single month. They've got 7.0 in quarter 4 of this year, when just previously they were at 6.4, and before that they were at 5.9. When we look at 2025, they're at 6.9, 6.8, 6.7, and 6.6. They were at 6 flat for the majority of 2025 on last month's, and before that they were in the mid 5s for 2025. They essentially have us at 7% from now through the end of 2025. That's Fannie Mae's forecast. Now, the hope is that they'll just be wrong again. That at some point here at the end of the year or going into next spring, we will see a 30-year fix lower. That we will see significant cuts to the federal interest rate, and that will somehow impact the 10-year and the 30-year into a positive direction, to a downward trend. That's the hope. My hope is that Fannie Mae is having a knee-jerk reaction to what's happening now. But I certainly don't know that they're going to be wrong. They might come out right on this one. If they had this projection from the beginning, they would have been in my camp. It's like, hold on. I think we're going to be above 6.5 for most of the year. Go back and rewind the tape in December, what I said on at Knowledge Brokers podcast, when I had the over on 6.375 on the year, when almost everybody on Instagram, when we did the poll, had the under. Optimism. I get it. It's fun to be optimistic. It's fun to look at a glass and say it's half full. I just like reality. Now I know what I'm working with. If I've got to go 3 times harder on my business because of the market that we're in, I just want to know it. I don't want to be tricked. I don't want to be duped and get here in May and be like, wait a minute, I was waiting for 5.5 and it never came. Just give me the cards. I want to look at them before I play. I don't want to play blindfolded. I don't want to go on Instagram and say, I'm going to say things that are pretty stupid. Okay. I put a lot of content out there every single week. There's going to be a lot of things that I say that are stupid, but I can avoid obvious stupid statements like trying to predict the future. Here's one thing that I will predict, though. I think the cherry on top pricing is over. I might look dumb on this, so I'm kind of contradicting what I just said, predicting the future. I think the data is lined up where this isn't that. I'm not going out on a limb making this prediction. Go back and listen to yesterday's hot sheet. We set record pricing yesterday on yesterday's Case-Shiller report on home values in America, but that was for March. That's a lagging data point. What have we seen since March? We've seen inventory climb almost everywhere in the country. Inventory is up. I've spoken to many of you agents across the country who said this spring market wasn't like most spring markets, who feel like the spring market is over. It's behind us. It's in the rearview mirror. That DOM is racking up. That people's homes are taking much longer to sell. And they're listing at those comps from yesterday, those record comps. When Uncle Billy was wrong the last year and a half, thinking prices were going to go down and they did nothing but going up, is this now Uncle Billy's moment to shine? I don't think it's his moment to shine, but it's his moment to say, hey, prices are finally going to stabilize. Cherry on top pricing is over. The sundae's still there. If you like an ice cream sundae, or if you've ever eaten an ice cream sundae, do you eat the cherry on top first and then dig in? Usually you get a little whipped cream off of that cherry. You eat it, then you can dig in. Or do you push it to the side and eat the entire sundae first? I'm a cherry off the top guy, little whipped cream. I think that's what's coming off of the prices. If you've got a community with 20 sales and 18 or 19 of them all fell in the same number, and 2 of them just reached for the stars and hit aspirational pricing, the cherry on top pricing, those are the numbers that I think are pulling off. I think they're already peeling off in our market today. It's just whether our sellers realize it or not. That's why when we talk inventory in relation to what's actually happening with mortgage demand, today's pricing shouldn't reflect March's Case-Shiller numbers. Having these conversations, how you talk with sellers, are going to matter for what your DOM looks like. Do you want your seller to sit on the market for 75 days? The market's not conditioned to see that yet. They will be. When we get into December and January and February of next year, the market's going to understand that it's okay for a house to sit on the market 60 days. Right now, it's like ripping a Band-Aid off. They don't get it because they haven't seen it for the last 3 years. It's up to you to really educate what past markets have looked like. Past markets, 60 days is normal. 45 days is cool. You probably wait 45 before you do one of those price reductions. Right now, in 24, 25 days, you've got sellers that are freaking out, circling the living room, calling nonstop. It's up to you to have the conversation 25 days prior to that of the appropriate price point. That even at that price point, 21 to 35 days might be perfectly normal in your market. How are you having those conversations? What does the market look like in the future? Is it going to actually get any easier in 2024? I wouldn't suggest based on this data. Again, when we look at the 30-year fixed, for the rest of the year, it's got us over 7%. It's got us at 7 in 2025, 6.7 when they average it out. It's really not a huge difference. It's a little better. It's nothing crazy. Okay, total housing starts. They have us going down from here, from Q2 for the rest of the year, going down in Q1 in 25 before going up in the last 3 quarters in 25. Total home sales. Okay, this is total, so this is new and existing. Total home sales, they've got us at 4.8 for Q1, 4.803, so a little bit under Q1 for Q2, 4.879 for Q3, and then 5 million for Q4. So they have total sales going up. Existing home sales going up as well. While we saw this dip from Q1 to Q2, they've got a rebound in Q3, slightly up in Q3, and then Q4 up a decent amount to 4,295,000 on a seasonally adjusted number for Q4. Future is bright in 25 when you go to existing home sales, according to Fannie Mae. 4.4 million for Q1, 4.5 million for Q2, almost 4.6 for Q3, and over 4.6 for Q4. They've got 5.4 million for total home sales in Q4 of 2025. So almost an improvement every single quarter from here through the end of 2025, according to Fannie Mae. But it's a slow grind. You don't see a spike. There's no prediction here that spikes up to 6 million. Okay. Is what it is. I think there's plenty of opportunity there. I think we would all agree that's a lot of home sales. That's the floor of what we've seen in the last 20 years, but it's still a lot. It's still enough for if you're the top agent, if you're a top agent, if you're a professional agent, if you're a knowledge broker, if you're putting in the work, if you're willing to do 3 times what you did in 2021, you're going to be fine. If you're truly an agent of change, if you're a doer, you're going to be fine. This market speaks to those. This market is ripe for the picking for those agents, especially for those that are embracing change, agents of change. Be a change agent. Embrace it, create a business model around it. So there you go on Fannie Mae. We'll link that up. That chart, that table rather, might be useful for you in helping talk about the future. Might be useful. It'll be inside of BAMX for you. If you're in BAMX, you know where to download that, as well as our hot sheet show notes, which breaks down all of the data that I'm talking about here in a very useful way for your social content or your email database content or your text message follow-up. It looks like this for those that haven't seen it. Many of you are copy and pasting this. There's 15 charts just today from the Fannie Mae, 10 charts from FHFA. There's over 25 charts just today inside of BAMX. Use code HOT to get 10% off of BAMX. Remember, BAMX gets you 25% off the lowest price for BAM Mania, but you can just copy and paste here from the show notes and use that for email headlines or text message follow-up or for a way to talk about the future using that Fannie Mae slide. And listen, this is what Fannie Mae sees in the future. They've been wrong. You can go back to their other slides and say, here's when they've been wrong, but here's what they're thinking about right now. Here's their current knee-jerk reaction right now. But here's the data that's accurate of what we've seen in the past. Okay. So there you go. Let's move to FHFA now as their house price index. They were wrapping up May, and we're seeing a lot of this stuff now come out. It's interesting to look at and see what information is inside of this data, because oftentimes this data ends up in a headline. And unless you know the data inside and out with certainty, you can't dispel or dispute or explain or, deeper look into a headline. You can't be curious about what somebody's read if you don't know the answer to the question. A lot of times when we talk about scripting or talking tracks of how to talk to a customer, we want to lead with curiosity. Well, the more you lead with curiosity, the deeper you go in understanding what specifically their concern is, their objection, or their question really is. And then that opens up the opportunity to educate. Well, you can only educate with certainty if you know your stuff. That's why we look at this stuff each and every single day. Hit the thumbs up if you are with that. House price appreciation over the previous 4 quarters, according to this FHFA HPI that just came out, quarter one, 6.6%. That's in line with what we're seeing there from Case-Shiller. Of course, we went over that yesterday. This is purchase only FHFA HPI. It's seasonally adjusted, so that number is through quarter one 2024. We had 4.6 in the same quarter of last year, so we're doing better than even last year, off of 18.6 in 22 and 13% in 21. That's what I mean about 21. That was an easy market. Okay, it was an easy market to be a doer. 22 was the last of the easy market. Okay, that was the end of that. So there's your house price appreciation. Here's what it looks like on a dotted line, annualized quarterly change versus the 4-quarter change and the quarterly change. Okay, so we had a dip in second half of 22 to just now see an increase. And again, according to Case-Shiller yesterday, you see those record prices now being realized as of March of this year. I expect that cherry to be plucked off of the top of that. Not a decline in prices, maybe in some areas a small decline. And by the way, 5 or 10% might be healthy in some areas. Okay, sometimes you need to trim it up. Okay, you see those guys with the big beard, and sometimes you just wonder, it's like, hey, maybe just shape it up a little bit. Just a little shape up once every 9 months wouldn't hurt you. It's getting a little frayed out. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but a little shape up might not kill you. Okay. 5 or 10% in particular market might not be a bad thing. Don't think the sky is falling if you lose 7% off of home values after gaining 48% the last couple of years. It's not the end of the world. You'll make it back very quickly. That's what real estate does. It goes up and to the right. Here are the 4-quarter house price changes by state, DC being the only loser. DC is obviously a very expensive town to be in. It's going to be a very highlighted town over the next 6 months. But 1.5% down on DC. Texas at 3.3% up. Okay, so Texas, one of those that pulled back, but still a gainer on 4-quarter appreciation. Florida in line with the national numbers at 6.1 versus 6.6 nationally. California, same thing. In line with the national numbers, 6.3 versus a 6.6 nationally. Nevada exceeded expectations, 8.1. Okay. When we look at Illinois, one of those outliers like the Northeast that just completely exceeded national numbers, 9.4, 9.6 in Connecticut, 11.6 in New Jersey, 10.9 in New York. Massachusetts, 8.8. Maine, what a great place that is for these summer months upcoming, 9.1. Not that I ever go there, but I've heard it's a great place. It looks pretty on the gram. New Hampshire, 9.4. Vermont, 12.8. 12.8 in Vermont. Unbelievable. Wisconsin, 9.9. You got Colorado, which was one of those states that was booming for a long time before the 2020-2021 push. Kind of cooling off at 3.6. Utah, 5.8, below national numbers. Okay. So there's just some of the states. We know some of the lowest increases have been Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, where you've got increasing insurance. You've got concerns about storms, those types of things. Those are all at 3.2 or under. One of my favorite charts every single month to share with you. It'll be inside of BAMX for BAMX members. Use code HOT to get a discount on BAMX. Monthly, this is monthly house price index for US from 91 to today. Up and to the right. Nothing stops real estate pricing. That's why don't worry if you get a cherry off top, 7% cool down in your market. It's going to be one of these little blips before another up and to the right acceleration. And this isn't predicting the future. This is just looking at the obvious. Okay. This is just looking at the last 30 years and saying, okay, what's obvious about the last 30 years, the last 30 plus years, even the decades before that? It's real estate does nothing but go up. The money we're using isn't all that real. The money's worth less every single year. Inflation happens every year, whether it's a high year or a normal year. Money eats itself. Home prices are going to go up. Of course they are. That's what it does. This is America. 12-month house price changes prior year versus most recent year. This is by region. Okay. So Pacific and mountain regions prior year went down. Only 2 regions to do that versus this year being up. Everybody's up this year. 12-month house price changes prior year versus most recent. Every region is up. US is up. And almost everybody is up more than they were last year outside of West, South, Central, up more last year than this year, and East, South, Central. Look at New England, 9.3 this year versus 5.7 last year. Middle Atlantic, 11% versus 4.8 last year. East, North, Central, 8.5 versus 5.5 last year. Okay, big gains there, according to FHFA. Ton more data in here. I'll leave it for you inside of BAMX. If you want to dig deeper, you can jump in there. BAMX, use code HOT to get your discount off of BAMX. BAMX members get that 25% off of BAM Mania tickets. Do not wait. because right now we're still in that early bird pricing phase where BAMX members would get their ticket for general admission below $300. It's almost like you're going to Circa Las Vegas for nothing. Jump in there. This will absolutely blow your mind. Mortgage applications decreased last week. Once again, according to MBA, mortgage applications decreased 5.7 from 1 week earlier. I keep talking, don't trick yourself about demand. It's pent up. It's there, but it's not there in the next 60, 90 days. This number shows us that. 5.7 decrease is not the number that I really care about. It's always the seasonally adjusted purchase index. That's only down 1% from 1 week earlier. Okay, so rates went up again last week for the first time in a few weeks, first time in 4 weeks, according to MBA. And you saw some of those refis cool off, obviously. You saw refinance index actually drop off 14%, but it was 12% higher than the same week a year ago. So refis are still up from last year. Tells you that some people, the consumer, might need a little bit more money than they had last year. That's what it tells me. The seasonally adjusted purchase index decreased 1% from 1 week earlier. So not a huge cooling off there on buyers. This was obviously 10% lower than the same week 1 year ago. So more of the same there. We're continuing to see a decrease in mortgage demand. Certainly down, obviously, from last year. This is a 3-month low now on mortgage demand. That's the headline on CNBC, and so that's what the national audience would see is the 3-month low for mortgage demand. Okay, so we get confused sometimes in a low inventory market saying that the demand is so ridiculously high. The reality is we just have far fewer homes than we're used to seeing, but those numbers are going up. Go back and listen to yesterday's hot sheet if you want the inventory update. The update on the 10-year treasury, I don't love it. If I go to the 1-day look, we had a huge spike here this morning. We're back up to 4.588. I'd anticipate Fannie Mae to be a little bit closer to being right here on their 30-year fixed. Look at yesterday's jump on the 30-year fixed. Goes from 7.16 on Friday of last week to opening this short week on Tuesday at 7.28. I could see it going up even more. We're heading back to 7.5. These rates are sticky. They're not obviously where we want them, but they are what they are. We can't control the rates. We can control what we do, and the rates are what they are. Keep your head down in 24. Be a doer, not a pontificator. One of the ways to do that is make sure your brand and your marketing is absolutely bulletproof. That's why I'd love for you to not only join me at BAM Mania in October, but for you to join me at the Brand and Marketing Summit by 1000 Watt. Nobody does it better than they do when it comes to real estate branding. The people in the room at this conference will blow your mind. Some of the great leaders of our industry, both on stage and off stage. This is Dallas, June 25th to the 27th. There's a code BAM. If you can make that one in Texas in June, love for you to join me there. Use code BAM to get the lowest price on the 1000 Watt ticket pricing. So 1000 Watt Brand and Marketing Summit. They've built some of the biggest brands in the industry that we all know. That'll be June 25th to the 27th. And we'll link that up below. It'll be in the description as well for those of you that are interested in attending that Brand and Marketing Summit, June, Dallas, 25th to the 27th. 1000 Watt puts that on. And then BAM Mania, October 18th, 17th, and 18th, if you want the VIP experience. Those are 2 opportunities to really embrace this agent of change mentality. Be the doer, not the pontificator, and lead the charge in this new industry. Appreciate you guys jumping in to today's hot sheet. Remember, use code HOT to get your BAMX membership. That'll give you 10% off of BAMX. BAMX members get 25% off of BAM Mania. Share this content with somebody who maybe doesn't know about the hot sheet, doesn't know that we've been doing this every single morning. Don't keep it a secret. share it so that we can continue the agent of change mentality and bring this industry up. Hope I added some value here today. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow, 9:30 on the East, 6:30 on the West. Until then, of course, toodaloo.